Hello, everybody. Welcome to certification. I'm Madeline Altabay, the Director of Certification, and I'm here with Gabby Katz, our Certification Coordinator. And this tutorial is to help our CEDS applicants and supervisors get familiar with our application process in Certemy. And afterwards, you can always ask us questions, but for now, I'm going to hand it over to Gabby and let her show you what we have.
All right, so we have gotten great feedback from applicants and supervisors to really see what does Certemy look like. You know, what when we get in there, when we finally are ready to admit, I want to help my supervisee to see what this looks like, and the applicants reaching out to us want to know what they're getting into before they start the process. So we're excited to do this video for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share screen. And the first thing that I want to make sure that we are looking at is our IADEP certification overview page. And so the first thing I want to say about this is it can take a little time for us to update this. So please be aware that we have an IADEP certification Facebook group that we actually manage ourselves, Madeline, myself, and one of our other team members, Amy. And so really emphasize the importance of joining that Facebook group so you can get the most up-to-date documents, policies, tips and tricks for applications. That one we can update very quickly. So make sure you are joining that group to have all of the most up-to-date information. But this overview page is very important, mainly for the applications themselves. So what you will do when you are ready to apply and to get ready to start your application is go to our certification page, and you will see this section right here, applications. Now, these are all the different applications that we provide for certification. What IADEP approved supervisor, we have unique pathways, we have a renewal application here, but the one we're going to talk about today is the CEDS application. When we are ready to finally submit our CEDS application, we will click here and we will pop in to Certemy. So welcome to Certemy. This is what it looks like. So Madeline and I have made a fake professional, so please know there's going to be no actual information of any applicant being shared here today. It's Josie, faux therapist, and we are excited to kind of show you Certemy through Josie. So first and foremost, when you finally get onto Certemy, you will see a little button here that says accept. Make sure you click that button because you are accepting this self-enrollment of this application. Because I'm going through it in kind of a mirror version, I've logged in from my admin account into Josie's account. It says that I am accepting the credential, but your name should be there as the applicant accepting your own credential. So please be aware of that. Now, let's get oriented to Certemy. First and yes, go ahead.
Have you pause on that one other tricky step people get stuck at. When you first click to accept the credential, it'll prompt you to say, do you want to proceed in Certemy or do you want to upload from somewhere else? And you absolutely want to proceed in Certemy. So just there, that step will pop up. Do not get confused. Just proceed and move on along.
Very important step. Thank you for clarifying that. So let's get oriented. So there are two types of forms in Certemy. We have a dynamic form and we have a log form. These are the two types that you'll see today in our video to help you understand kind of what that looks like. The other thing I'd like to orient you to are these little bubbles. So these bubbles are what help you know if your application is complete or incomplete. If the bubble is white, it means it is incomplete, okay? And then if the bubble is green, that means you have completed the step. Now, please know it says pending verification because it won't say complete or approved or whatever it says at the end until the committee finalizes their decision. But pending verification, the green bubble means you have completed your part and it is now in the certification team and committee's hands. Now, One other important thing to know is that your application does not have a submit my completed application button or anything like that at the end. The way you will know that your application is in our hands is if every single circle here is green. That means that you have finished your part of the application and it is now safely with us. Now, with that being said, I want to make everyone aware that there is one last step right here, administrative review step, the last little bubble. That will not turn green for you. That will stay white because that is for internal purposes of when we have our final decision. That is where we send out the review through that step for you all. All right. Anything else you want to add before I get into some of these forms?
Just that we know that it's hard to wait the 90 days, but it is the 90 days and we're doing the best we can.
Yes, and that is right here. So I appreciate you saying that. Please be aware that it can take 90 days for your application to be reviewed by the committee. All right, so first I'm going to jump into some of the steps I've already completed just to kind of show you what that looks like. So this is our pre-qualification step. And one of the main things I want to point out in this step is this question/comment right here. We want to make sure that you're reading each step very carefully as you're filling them out. And so right here, it says my supervisor is able to verify hours via email. Now, this is important because this specific application, what happens is when you fill out the information, it'll push an email out to your supervisor for them to complete their portion through Certemy as well. If you are not in contact with the supervisor anymore and you have a hard copy paper version of the supervisor documentation form, if you have a supervisor who's an affidavit supervisor, whatever it may be where this is not possible, you need to reach out to the certification team through this email, certification@iadept.com, and ask for the application paper version. And that means that you will upload all of the information directly into Certemy instead of it pushing out directly to your supervisors or letter of recommendation references in that case. So please be aware of that.
Do you want to mention what the affidavit is in case people don't know?
Yeah, of course. So we have a one-time supervisor affidavit, which is no longer in effect. So as of August, I believe it was August 1st, 2020, that is the cutoff as to when someone could still use the one-time supervisor affidavit. Now, what does that mean? That means previously we didn't have enough IADEP approved supervisors in any community, really, any area. And so we would allow applicants to utilize supervisors that were not IADEP approved supervisors if they met specific qualifications for their SEDS application. And so again, we've stopped doing this since 2020, since we have so wonderfully grown in our IADEP approved supervisor amount of people. It's just so wonderful how many people are out there now who can be supervisors, but that is what it was for. And that was the cutoff date. So some people who are still submitting their applications who had supervisors before August 1st, 2020 are still uploading that document into their applications. Anything else you want me to say about that?
Not about that. Apologies if you heard that text alert. I thought I had turned them all off.
Okay, not a problem. I didn't hear anything, so we're all
Okay.
good. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to go to is the personal information section. I'm just gonna share my page real quick and then pause and have Madeline share her screen. So one of the main things we wanna make sure that we really reiterate in this step is the membership that document that you are submitting. We want to make sure that that definitely has an expiration date on it. So one of the requirements is that you have to be an IADEP member. And so whether it's a receipt or a screenshot, it needs to show that you are an IADEP member. And so for example, and Madeline will kind of help you see how to get to this place, But here's an example. It has my name. We want to make sure we have, identifying information that this is your membership. And it says that my membership is current through 12/31/2022. And so this is just important to make sure that it's active. We need to make sure that all of our applicants are active. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so that Madeline can kind of share her slide of how to find that if you need help finding that.
Sure. So most people are familiar with our other site, which is where you would have paid for a symposium or for your membership. And if you are trying to find your membership, it would be that you click this little bar on the right once you're logged into your member portal. You click this one on your right, and that's where we get this, your membership is current through that particular date. Since I've been working at IADEP, I've had a membership free, so that's why mine looks like 0. I wish I could give that to everybody, but I can't. But you can see some of the past history right there. But that is really easy. Log into your member portal, go to membership info, and then just screen capture this. So I will stop sharing and turn it back over to you, Gabby.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's get back into Certemy. So here we go, just to kind of go through another just note, tip, and trick for your application, the legal authorization to practice requirement. Now, that is very important to, again, have your expiration date. We need to know that you are active and current in your licensure. So a couple notes with that is, one, sometimes there are states that don't have an expiration date on like a hard copy license. I know mine doesn't, for example. And so what we say is you can submit your license that has your issue date and things like that, but you also should go to your state board website. And in every state board website, there is a license verification or license lookup tab. And in that tab, you need to go ahead and click on it, find your information, and then screenshot that, because that will always have an expiration date. It says if you're current, active, all of those things. So uploading at least that, will let us know you're current and active. And again, that could be licenses for therapists, registration cards for RDs. And then I know, Madeline, you like to comment a little bit about international on here too.
Right. So we say legal authorization to practice because we're aware that state by state, profession by profession, and country by country, there are all kinds of regulations on different healthcare professions. So people often ask, do I need to be this? Do I need to have that? And the rule of thumb is if you have the legal authority to practice in the place, the jurisdiction that you are in, that is what matters. And that is the kind of information that you would need to upload in this section.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for noting that. All right. So what I'm going to do now is show you what a dynamic form would look like. So what I'm going to do is go into, let's say, the education one. It'll pop up and it'll say complete now. And then you'll go ahead and fill it in. You will go ahead and upload what you need to upload. I'm just going to upload something silly, not really focusing on what it is. And then, are you an international applicant? Yes or no? I am not. Continue, confirm.
And we add that international applicant step because we use a special committee to review some of those international diplomas and degrees, because we're aware that the education requirements also vary country to country in order to provide services in different health professions. So we are having the information collected there, but we might do some different things with it on the back end.
Thank you for that. And so one thing I want to point out to everybody is, as you can see now that we've completed that form, it's green and another bubble has filled in green. And so that means that is done. We have finished that step. So I want to show you a log step. And the way that I'm going to start with that is the continuing education. So you would go ahead and of course, fill it out appropriately. I'm just doing it very quickly just so that we can see what it looks like. And I want to note here are instructions. So if you have any confusions on what are the rules, what is the guidelines, please take a look on this side with all the writing, and please read through it before you submit your application or upload anything, because it'll really help you understand what will have this step be approved, for example. So on a log step, you will see that there will always be some sort of required number and remaining number, and it will keep track of it within the system. So what's very important is this part I'm actually not going to loosely type in, because this is the number. How many CEs, CEUs, CMEs were provided, or this is the provider number. I'm so sorry about that. And there is an hours number. Here it is. How many hours were provided? What I'm going to do, just for the sake of kind of doing this quickly to show you how it works, is I'm going to put 20. Again, I'm going to upload something I have to upload for us today, which is actually my IADEP Symposium from 2021 CE certificate. So it works perfectly. And I'm going to submit it. Confirm log. Very important. Submit. Very important. And here we go. Pending verification, 20. So therefore, I have met the requirement. And I'm just going to scroll up, and I'm going to go back to my credential. And that step should be green. And it is. It is done.
And it will not turn green until there are at least 20.
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, everybody. So welcome to the Approved Supervisors Documentation Form. So this is where you will add all of your supervision information and your supervisor's information. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and send an email to my IADEP email address. And I'm going to put all my information in. And so I'm going to actually stop sharing screen in case any auto-populating information happens. And so let me go ahead and fill in this form. And while I do that, if there's any notes, Madeline, that are coming up for you, please feel free to add anything, but I'm just going to go ahead and fill this out really quickly.
Absolutely. I just was going to add, one of the application tips we say is for anything that isn't basic information, like this is where I went to school, we often say, go ahead and write it on a separate Word document so you can go over it and look at it. So all of the information boxes where you fill in information, you can either type or you can cut and paste. So you can open all the steps and look at what those text boxes say and figure out for yourself which ones do you want to work on separately and which ones do you want to type directly into the application. So that's a good strategy to have in mind.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I'm just looking through this. And again, I want to reiterate, this is the first time that we're doing this. So if there are any bumps along the way, please kind of give us some grace as we're learning this with you all too. So I went ahead and added some information at the top. And now as the applicant, I'm going to add my information. Now, for the sake of not having to do this a million times and seeing it complete, I'm going to go ahead and just put, a couple different numbers that will have me meeting the criteria. And I'm going to go ahead and put 12 individual and 12 group. Now, if we want to add a little note, we want to make sure everybody knows the notes again are on this side. And please know that we are updating this application as much as possible to make sure that it is as current as possible. So please know supervision can be 100 individual dyad or 50-50 individual and group. So you can have 100%, all 24 hours, if you will, of individual, or if you are doing group, just know that it can only be about 50%. And so here we go, meeting 2500, la 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 is my signature.
How
And
did you do the signature? Did it allow you to do that on your mouse or how did it work?
great question. So yes, so all you do is you click down on your mouse. So you'll click on your mouse and you'll go ahead and just rub your finger on, if you have I'm on my laptop. So my laptop mouse, or if I had an actual mouse, it's just making sure you hold it down while you write it. That's a great question. All righty. We're going to go ahead and continue. Here we go. So we're going to send my IADEP email. So gabrielle.iadep@gmail.com. And then just in case it auto-populates anything too personal, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and put my information in. All right. And let's share screen again so we don't miss the action here. And then we're going to put a little text. Please fill out my supervisor documentation form, smiley face. All right, submit. So what we do first and foremost, if you see this, when you are checking to see if your supervisor has completed it, it means they have not completed it, okay? So if you see the resend and the cancel, if you have the accessibility to do those things, it is not done. So again, I'm just going to stop sharing just to double check my email. And I'm sorry if I'm giving everybody, back and forth roller coaster motions here. Just to check.
That's okay. I think we have one other tip on the supervisor thing. We've had questions, and in the way the application works, you as the applicant will not see the supervisor's descriptions and answers to the questions. And supervisors, what you write is viewable by the certification team, but not anybody else.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yes. So one thing that I want to note is it was in my promotions. It was in kind of like my spam folder, not my primary. So make sure you are reaching out to your supervisors to let them know when you send it and to check both their spam, promotion, primary, whatever type of inbox to make sure they get it. The supervisors will get this. So it'll say, please complete it. And all they do is click form. Now, again, hang in there with me because we haven't done this. And so I can't do it probably because I'm already signed on, and I'm probably signed on as Josie Faux Therapist. So there's probably a couple things blocking me from doing it. So what I did instead is I went ahead and I want to just show you all this document that we've made for you. Please reach out to the certification team at certification@iadep.com to get this document if you need help with the supervisor documentation form as a supervisor. We have also made one for references. So anybody submitting a letter of recommendation, if they're having trouble, please reach out to us. We will supply you with these instructions as well. But basically, it just goes through what it looks like. I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but it has, some boxes here to show you the steps to click, to fill it out, again, to fill it out, and to submit. And that's what that would look like. Now back to Josie's profile. All right, we're in her application, and there's just one more thing that we want to show you before we start wrapping up, and that is what a dynamic form looks like when we're filling in text boxes. So we go to complete now, and for example, here we have the different sections of the case study. This is actually a great note to know for our case study, there are actually individual boxes for each specific part of the case study that we want. So please make sure that it makes sense and flows in this type of format. Now, how the boxes work, some people might get worried about this, is there's not enough room for my text. That is okay. The boxes grow as you type. And so then again, I'm just going to copy and paste for time's sake. Boop, boop. All right, here we go. And continue and confirm. And then we will see it is done. It is done. And then Madeline, you want to have any notes or feedback on this type of form as well?
I think we covered that earlier about trying. This is one where I would definitely write in a separate Word document. Know that each actual part of that case study gets reviewed separately, but it should still flow and make sense together. So I would definitely recommend people spend some extra time on the content and the writing on this section.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Okay, so that is really what Certemy looks like, and the different forms and what the bubbles mean, and how all this flows together. And again, if you have any questions for us, please reach out to us at certification@iadept.com. We are more than happy to answer questions via telephone, via email. If you are having trouble with Certemy, screenshots are our best friend. We want to see what's going on so that we can actually help you through it. And so I just want to thank you all for taking time to meet with us today. And any last words from you, Madeline?
We look forward to your application and we wish you lots of luck with all of your learning.
Absolutely. Good luck, everybody.